I'll probably call Wade Lanier as soon as we hang up. No need for that, Ian. Not yet, anyway. The last thing we need at this point is more lawyers. I'll call you in a couple of days. You do that. Ian slammed the phone down and glared at his wife and said, What's going on, Ian? Ian took a deep breath, exhaled, and said, You're not gonna believe it. Herschel was sitting behind the wheel of his small Datsun, listening to the end of a Springsteen song when the call came. The Datsun was parked near the main entrance of the BMW dealer in East Memphis. Dozens of shiny new BMWs glistened in perfect rows along the street. He had fought himself over this ridiculous stuff and made peace only with a compromise that was to include a chat with the salesman, but certainly no test drive. Not yet, anyway. As he reached to turn off the radio, his car phone rang. It was Stillman Rush. He began with a nervous, Herschel, there's a new wrinkle. Letty arrived alone. Jake followed her up the stairs to the big office, where he closed the door and directed her to a small sitting area with a sofa and chairs. He took off his tie and poured coffee and tried to ease her apprehension. She explained that Simeon had already left again. She had told him nothing about Seth's will, and this angered him. They had fought briefly, with every word echoing around the crowded house, and so he left. Jake handed her a copy of Seth's will. She read it and began crying. He placed a box of tissues next to her chair. She read it again, and when she finished, she laid it on the coffee table before her and sat for a long time with her face in her hands. When the tears stopped, she wiped her cheeks and sat straighter, as if the shock was gone and she was ready for business. Why would he do this, Letty? Jake asked firmly. I don't know. I swear I don't know, she said, her voice low and hoarse. Did he discuss this will with you? No. Have you seen this before? She was shaking her head. No. Has he ever mentioned his will to you? A pause as she tried to unscramble her thoughts. Twice, maybe in the past few months, he said he would leave a little something behind for me, but he never said what. Of course, I was hoping he would, but I never brought it up. I never had no will. My mama never had one. Not something we think about, you know, Mr. McGann. Please, call me Jack. I'll try. Did you call him Mr. Hubbard, Mr. Seth, or just Seth? Deliberately, she said, when it was just the two of us, I called him Seth because that's what he wanted. If anybody else was around, I always called him Mr. Seth or Mr. Hubbard. What did he call you? Letty, always. He quizzed her about Seth's last days, his illness, treatments, doctors, nurses, appetite, daily rituals, and her employment. She knew almost nothing about his business and said that he kept his papers locked up tight around the house. Most had been moved